Welcome, well, to another commute. Oh, this is safe. I wonder if I'm actually going to get where I'm trying to go. I'm supposed to be all the way across town to drop this off for her service before 7 o'clock. I even left work a little early, hoping to get there in time not to have to rush through everything and be like, ah! And, well, maybe not so much. I don't know, who knows, it could be the college again. Having some fine festivity of some sort. And as soon as we clear the college, it might be fine-ish. Yeah, as fine as traffic in Phoenix can be. Sun's a bit harsh today. That always scares me when traffic gets bunched up like this. Because of that, everybody gets jumpy. Everybody thinks the next lane over might get them someplace faster. Gotta go fast. And all they do is they jump over a lane, so that makes the person they would have taken their spot slam on their brakes, which makes the people behind them check up, which just makes traffic worse. I don't know. But nobody cares about anybody else. Nobody gives a damn about each other anymore. And honestly, the way it looks, we care more about our pets than we do about each other half the time. Or we care too much, and it's just psychotic. You know, this rapper said this, or this actor said this, or oh my god, this person's not exactly normal. I don't know. There's no basis of a civil society more. No manners, no after you, no what's right, what's wrong. And it's not even like, having to do with all the issues around sexuality and gender and all that. It's not that. I don't care. You want to be whatever you want to be whatever you want to be. But you still need to be polite and civil and act courteous. Not only to the people that completely agree with you, but everybody. And the same should be said on the other side. Everybody should be polite and courteous to everybody. There must be a wreck or something. Jesus. Try and be friendly. There's just none of that. It's me first, me first, me first. If there's a wreck up here, if we all let one car go, another move over, zippered it in, we'd all get someplace a whole lot faster. I don't mind letting cars go in front of me. The ones that scare me are the ones that want to share my lane with me, because they tend not to leave me any room. If you put your signal on and you want to merge in front of me, that's fine. But if you're going to just run me over because you want my lane, not so much. Everybody complains about the millennials, and I don't even want to complain about the millennials. I'll talk about the generation before that. Hell, even my generation, sometimes I just look at it and I'm like, what the hell happened? My generation, we grew up in the 80s. Yeah, because I was in high school by the 90s, so I was done growing up. High school, you're not a kid anymore, you're a teenager. Teenagers, you're kind of, that's where you figure out adult stuff, but you're no longer a child. You don't do child things, you start doing adult things. It's the stepping stone between. But we still had a certain amount of stuff. We had to talk on the phone, because there wasn't cell phones and there wasn't texting when I was in high school. So you still had to talk on the phone to set up anything, to talk to your buddies, to go on dates, to do anything. There wasn't a computer. We had computers in high school. We used computers. I was fairly computer good. Computer good. Computer savvy, for a 90s high school kid. Were there ones that were better? Oh, yeah. But I wasn't terrible. I grew up, there was always a computer in the house. My mom worked with computers. So, she was in the IT field. So there was that. But now I talk to people, and there are so many people that can't hold a conversation. I'm not always the biggest talker. This be laying. Although sometimes it takes me a moment to ramp into the conversation. But I talk to... Slide the rear tire. That's good for my new tires. Now let him in. Talking about being polite. That is one thing that I have a problem with, being polite. That's not polite. That gets people killed. Is letting people, stopping your lane and hoping every other lane stops just so you can make a left turn into a high traffic situation. That's not being polite. That's wishful thinking and hoping that you don't get somebody killed. But I digress. But I talk to people, make my living talking. And there are so many adults that just don't make comprehensible conversation. They simply lack the verbal skills to ask for what they want. It's no wonder they have trouble getting stuff and doing stuff. I get people that call up and will say, I need something, and nothing else. They don't give you anything else. And you sit there and you literally have to draw out every answer. Or they'll make random weird statements that don't complete themselves. I was like, I've had them call up and just say 95 RAM. Do you have it in stock? Well, do I have what in stock? Well, like, what? And tell me what you needed for your RAM. That's an example. But there's a lot of that. There's a lot of where they don't give you all the information for you to make any kind of assistance at all, and then they get upset. What do you mean you don't know what I'm talking about? Well, you didn't finish a thought. You didn't even tell me what you're talking about. Or, I need a water pump. Okay. Water pump for what? And as much as I'd love to be like that, like, yep. Or just look up something random. Here you go. $300. It's not how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to find out what they actually need. So you ask them clarifying questions, and then they get testy with you, like, what do you need this information for? Well, you want the right water pump for whatever you're working on. I need to know what you're working on. I need you to help me help you. I need information, but mostly I just need people to have verbal skills. And I try and think back to before I was in the customer service business, which my first job was technically customer service. I worked at Target. And I never had a problem talking to people. They'd come and ask me questions. I'd be like, oh, okay, you do this, or you do this, and this. So, yeah, you go down this aisle. And I never. I wasn't a very outgoing child. I was round. That made it difficult. There's a certain amount of social stigma that comes with being a round child. Even today, when there's more round children, I was ostracized because I was heavy. And I had a temper. And that wasn't a good combination. Fat kid with a temper. I sat on lots of kids. But I got made fun of. Fatty, blah, blah, blah. All that crap. Children are mean, by the way. And I don't know whether it's because I ended up having to talk to adults, because the children were mean, so I ended up talking to the adults, that I learned how to conversate as an adult. I don't know whether it was the talks with my father, and maybe that's the problem, is all the parents now are too busy playing with their computers and their cell phones, they don't actually talk to their children. I know we didn't talk to my wife's child enough. I tried to engage him sometimes, but it just never seemed to work. And if that's the problem, is there isn't just enough, having somebody who's not an adult actually talk to adults in an adult manner. And it's not every adult. It's not every millennial. Well, it's not every hipster or whatever the hell my generation is. It's more than there should be. So if you don't fall into this, if you can have a conversation, if you can call up and say, I have a blah, 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 and I need this, and then have the patience or the wherewithal to let me actually look it up. Or even, the ability to order food without being huffy. Then this doesn't apply, but I see so many people that just aren't, so they just don't function. They make random statements and don't finish the thought, don't complete the thought, don't give you all the information necessary. And I don't know whether it's because they just don't know how to make the conversation, or if they've already thought about it and they're doing other things in their head. They're thinking about their Facebook profile, or heaven knows playing with their phone, tippity clickety away, because that's the most important thing in the world. and they just don't think that they need to give the rest of the information. They just expect people to know what they're talking about. Like, see right here, they don't know what the fuck these people are doing. I have a clear lane. That person had gunned it out there, I'd have been in trouble. But everybody stops and lets them out. That's not being polite. That's being dangerous. There is a difference. That even comes to education, to schools. Like I said, children were mean, and we've let children be mean. We don't teach them that you have to accept other people. We don't teach them that ostracizing the fat kid, or the kid with big ears, or the kid that's a different color, or the kid that's a little swishy. No offense to anybody, is wrong. You can't do that. We're all people. We're all going to be adults. We all share this, water-coated green rock that hurtling through space at some amazing amount of speed in a semi-tenuous orbit around a giant blazing fireball. Maybe we should not be assholes to each other. Because that at any point could end. The sun could decide that it wants to burp out fire and turn us all into ash. Some mystery rock from the deepest of Cosmo could slice through our asteroid belt, miss Jupiter's gravitational well, and hurtle into us at a gazillion miles per hour, end us like the dinosaurs. So some future species of fish people can go, hey, look, these guys are dumbasses. I was really hoping the truck was going to stop for the light that I kind of sort of blew. But no, he has to be a pain in my ass. Why are we like we are? I mean, we don't have to love everybody like, oh, you're my best friend in the whole wide world, but why are we going to be jerks to each other about anything? Accept, be respectful, be kind, be friendly, be courteous, and learn how to have a conversation. Learn to speak politely and friendly, and maybe this world would be better. I mean, it's so easy to jump to conclusions and judge people for what you think. It doesn't do you any good. As I do take, on the other token, there is a certain amount of responsibility that comes with anything. Like, she was going to walk right out in front of me. You have to be aware. Just like you need to be able to have a conversation. You need to be aware enough to know that what you're talking about, what you're doing. I mean, I talk to an amazing amount of people that have no freaking idea what they're driving. And I get to a certain extent that they don't care, because it's just transportation, which is fine. If you don't care what you're driving, and it's just transportation, then bring it into service and drop it off and say, here, fix it. I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't care. You guys figure it out. Let the professionals do it. And pay your bill, and be happy. Because we're going to do our job. Now, are there ones out there that will take advantage of that? Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, there's bad apples in everything, it seems like, anymore. But that goes back to being, courteous, polite, adult. How do I want to phrase this? Like this. I'm going to take it I know how to wrench on it myself. When I bought it, only reason I got the maintenance program is because it lowered my interest rate. Because it shows you're going to take care of it. And because it shows you're going to take care of it, then the bank thinks, oh, well, if we have to repo, at least it'll have its maintenance done. Which is terrible. I really do despise that thought process. That's how they think. You know, the banking setups. So basically they think they're going to repo it. But that's the reason I got it. Does it need service? Absolutely not. It needs an oil change. It's been 6 months. It needs an oil change, a nice new filter, and, you know, maybe the chain lubed. Which I'm horrible with chain lube. Oh, hey, we're stopping. Hopefully everybody else is stopping too. Oh, I forget this lane screws up. Oh well. But I'm going to take it to them and just drop it off. Here, do whatever. Because I know that's their job. And it's not going to cost me anything out of pocket. That helps too. But I have to trust them and trust that they're going to do their job. I'm going to be courteous and professional when I pick it up and drop it off. I left early just so I wouldn't that guy that shows up at 5 till close and runs you through the ringer. Pet peeve of mine. It's just from working in retail. You always, you're like relaxed, you're locking the doors, you're clicking, then you cleaned up everything, and you're like, yay! And then that one person walks in and just beats the stuffing out of you, and you're like, why? That person's trying to live their life, they're trying to do their thing. It's not personal, most of the time, I hope. Yeah, they have things to do and places to go. Although sometimes you do wonder. But, that's what it is. I wasn't planning on talking this long. But, that's kind of, I have to work early enough that I thought I would be pretty close to where I was going by now, but not so much. This commute's kind of kicked my butt. And this was the easy route. Going up the freeway, which is the other way, go all the way around the 101 like I do when I go to the bike nights and stuff. That showed red all the way up there. I was like, that's not going to work. It might have. Don't know. It's a funny story. This is a switch engine for the yard back there. And they come and they park the switch engine there, and then they come across the street and they get stuff at the QT. For, you know, them and for the crew and whatever. Well, one night the lights were screwing up there at Bethany Home. I had come over here for gas, I think. I think I was filling up the wife's, not the wife's at the time, but the wife's vehicle. Well, let's put gas in something. It may have even been before the wife. I don't even remember. But it was sitting there, and the lights were flashing, and traffic was mangled. And the engineers were just wandering around the convenience store. And, you know, and I mentioned, I was going to mention it to it because I could tell. It's like, hey, look, they're trained engineers. They look like trained engineers. How you can tell that, I'm not quite sure, but they were dressed like trained engineers. So I was going to mention it, and somebody else did, and they're like, oh, there's something wrong with the lights. It's not our fault. And I think to myself, I'm like, oh, okay, I understand it's not your fault. But you're wandering around a convenience store while your engine sits over there and the lights flash. Anybody's going to think maybe you're being jackasses. So the polite, courteous, adult thing to do was, you know what? Let's move the engine. Let's push it back a little bit. Maybe we got to walk a little ways, or maybe we can't do our QT snack run right now. Let's get this thing out of the way so we make double sure it's not the engine. We make sure that it's not just, you know, flicking a pressure sensor weird or something. So, hey, when the cops show up and go, oh, yeah, there's not a train there. There isn't a train there. That would make so much more sense to me. And to everybody else. They wouldn't be mad. They'd be like, oh, hey, the lights are screwed up. There isn't an engine here. Instead of having the engine close enough that it looks like, well, it's screwed up because there's an engine there. And that goes to, thinking a little bit beyond just you. That's what you want. Kind of, about thinking beyond yourself. I try and do that. In traffic, I try not to be... I hate speeding, but I try not to be the guy that's dragging ass and holding everybody up. I will let people in. If you give me a signal and you give me a chance, you don't just try and run me over, I'm more than happy to let you in most of the time. I'm not going to let, an entire line of cars cut me off, because good times. Because I do have places to go, too. And that goes, with everything. If you see somebody let one or two in, don't be the third or fourth to ram your way in there and be like, this guy's nice. Let's take advantage of it. That's not adult or courteous or polite in any way either. Mobile homes. I wanted one of those once. I was living in my single wide, and that was when the housing market was way, way up, and I just thought there was no way I was ever going to buy a house. And those are not terribly expensive. Okay, you go, dude. All things considering, I mean, when you're looking at a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house for $220,000 to start, and you can get one of those for $95,000 that's 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, that's built better. Well, the problem is there is nowhere in the valley to put one of those. I mean, if you buy land up in Payson or Prescott, or even I think Wickenburg is about as close as you can get. Okay, there you go. And there's some costs in the setup and everything else. It's not a bad, but as far as buying like a lot and doing it here in town, nope. I looked. There's a few places in town where they have that. They're all full. They all had houses on them. They all wanted $300,000 for them. It's like, because they wanted $100,000 for the land and then $2 something for the house, and you're like, I could buy a foundation built house for less than that. That's just dumb. That's the way it was. It was amazing. So apparently I am slowing up traffic because I'm doing 55. People are passing me like I'm standing still. Holy mackerels. Oh well. Of course, that's the other thing about being an adult. I just don't understand why everybody drives as fast as they do. I get the thrill, but on a day-to-day, like in this situation, why are you going so fast? This is why I heard a statistic that the actual deaths are on the rise again. And it's not because the cars aren't safe. These new cars are... If you wear your seatbelt and your airbag functions, you've had your recall done. These cars are some of with the crumple zone technology and the reinforced steel where they need to be and the 15 airbags and everything. You can walk away from a pretty hard hit without so much as a scratch half the time. And your ears might ring and it might be a little disconcerting, but the caveat to that is you don't do 90 miles an hour into whatever you hit. I'm in a 40, I think this is 45 through here. And traffic, the whole batch of traffic is pulling away at 56 miles an hour. I just don't believe it. My Senna turned off. Hopefully not the one that I'm talking to, but the other one. The one that was playing music in my ear. Which means my wife will call and find out where I'm at right now. Because my Senna turned off and I can't actually talk to anybody. Yeah, now I'm doing 60. In a 40 zone. It terrifies me. This is ridiculous. I do need to be over another lane. It blows me away how fast we drive now. To get to nowhere. Oh well. Alright. I want to go up Cotton Crossing. I don't want to cut anybody off. Hopefully... Oh. Fresh air. Oh. I would like to go, but I'm not really sure about it. Screw it. Oh. Alright. Ooh, sun went down and it get cold. Wow. Well, cold for here. I always temper that because it's Phoenix. It's not cold. It's cold for Phoenix. Sorry about the whistle. Oh, lordy. Oh. My foot went to sleep. I get stuck on a peg, kind of funny. And this just gives you just enough tingle. Just enough little vibes that it's like... I wonder why that car's out there that deep. I'm gonna make a right. Not sure that's legal, technically. Well, whatever. Oh. Me first, me first. I'm the most important person. But that's part of the problem. Everybody thinks they're the most important person. I mean, I'm the most important person in my little life. But in the grand scheme of things, no. Not a chance. And that's the problem, is everybody thinks they're the most important person in the universe. Nope. Not even close. Hell, I'm not even the most important person in my little life. My wife is. She's what my world revolves around. So she's the most important person in my life. So, that's what's important. Get to stay green, stay green, stay green, stay green, stay green. Yay! It stayed green! Got furniture and mattress? No. Do you? You're the mattress store. That plane just made the most awkward turn. I have no idea if you guys can see that up there or not. Must be going to Glendale. It's the only thing I can think of. It just made a really weird turn. That's kind of big for Glendale. Oh well. Whatever. I assume the highly skilled pilots know what the frick they're doing. At least I hope so. Almost there. Ish. Whistle, 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 whistle. I wish they had a cure for that. I really do. This helmet's not bad. It's actually really quiet. It is really, really quiet. With the visor down, the arrow shape is good. It doesn't buffer. It doesn't pull like my silver one with the peak on it. It still bugs my right ear, but that every helmet I've ever owned apparently bugs my right ear. Don't know what that is about. It's probably because I'm built funny. But although I always remember as a kid, even when I'd wear sunglasses, the sunglasses would bug the right ear. So I don't think that's the helmet's fault at the slightest. Oh. And yes, I've prattled on quite a bit today. There's a bus. I dislike buses. I'm not very curious to buses. I actually haunted one this morning because he was just not moving. Like, get out of the way. And it's not because I have anything against anybody in the bus. Hey, you need to get around too. I get it. Don't get me wrong. I understand. Not everybody's as lucky as I have been. Of course, I always had wheels. Oh, we're stopping. This might be ugly. Oh, yeah. I missed my ABS. Oh, yay, nobody's gonna crush me, I hope. White pickup truck in the back. I thought for a second it was my wife, but it's Chevy. I can't stand how they run them around this town. First of all, they run them like they're the only vehicle on the road. They stop when they want to. Jesus. They go when they want to. They will cut people off. I have seen them just push their way into traffic like I'm the biggest thing. Deal with it. And it's like, that's not really how that's supposed to work. There's no courtesy there. There's no politeness. It's not being an adult. Shouldering your way into things because you're the biggest person there. Hey, Flashy, the guy that means the left turn. Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I'm a little defensive. That probably wasn't very polite either. I get defensive about surviving. But the buses just, they spend all this money on these roads. Put pullouts. It wouldn't cost you hardly anything else when you're putting the roads in, doing all of your stuff. Put pullouts so the buses can get out of the way. Chicken smells good. Don't want chicken. Chicken tears me up, but chicken smells good. That would let traffic flow better. Which would ease congestion, which would make everything better for both the bus passengers. Can't imagine how bad it ruins your day when one of those buses get rear-ended, which happens a lot. And it makes it better for everybody around it. Like, when buses stop, people in that lane back up against the back of it, and then they all try and cut into the next lane over. Well, that scares the hell out of me as a motorcyclist. That terrifies me. But the people in the driving lane, they don't have to stop. And whether it's polite or not to let people in or out, but if you're doing 40 and somebody just jumps out in front of you, it's not about politeness. It's about excuse me. So, courteous thing to do would just wait for the bus to move, and then know you're stuck behind the bus, and know it's going to stop at the next stop, and maybe try and merge with traffic. I'm going to be goofy. That was terrible. Never do that. Hey, it worked. Terrifyingly enough. Or, I don't know. But, because I have a whole rant on light rail and mass transit and how it just doesn't work in this town. And I don't think it's because it doesn't work for a big city. It just doesn't work in this town because we're not willing enough to spend enough money because it doesn't work. But then the money we spend is spent terribly. Yeah, okay. See? That guy almost tried to take me out. No signal, no caring, no nothing. I would have perfectly willing to let him over. If he doesn't try and run me over. Well. I have a big truck behind me. Those make me nervous sometimes too. And a Prius, or Jeff Dunham. Jeez, I can't talk anymore. Jeff Dunham calls him Man, I haven't watched him in a long time. He's funny. Alright, well, I'm paddled, and I'm almost where I need to be. And this commute's almost over, so hopefully nobody else tries to take me out. And you all have a wonderful week, and I'll see you on the next one. And no, I'm not turning my camera off. I don't know if it's outro crew like Chase does, or just because I don't trust this blue Chevy in front of me to save his butt. But I am going to take the rough shortcut, because, yeah, not bail. Time to not be in this traffic. I just wish this rough shortcut somebody would pay to finish for the rest of the road. Because they had to repave half of it. They just didn't repave the rest of it. And there's a speed bump. Speed bump's annoying. Oh! Whew. Yay! I should behave. Last time we were here, there was a Peoria patrolman sitting over there, doing I'm not sure what. He might have been just hiding, doing his paperwork, or just finished a call or whatever, but he may have been back here because people like to be hooligans. And nothing says hooligan like a hooligan motorcycle. Do 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 do. Hey, the wife's already here. I wonder if the door's unlocked this time. Blink. Hey, it's unlocked.